10 years ago, they dragged her away in handcuffs for a crime she didn't commit. Today, she walked back into their mansion, not as the girl they destroyed, but as the woman who came to uncover the truth. Hello, family. Welcome to Tales with Francis Stories. Please subscribe and leave a comment. It truly means the world to us. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and loved ones, and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a new story. Thank you for supporting us. The city was cold that morning. Not the kind of cold that brushed the skin, but the kind that crawled into the heart and whispered old memories back to life. Eva Blake tightened her coat as she approached the Hale mansion, a place that once felt magical, a place that would have been her home if life had been kind. She stopped at the gate. 10 years. 10 years since she stood in this exact spot, begging, shaking, pleading through tears as police officers dragged her away. 10 years since she was accused of stealing a diamond necklace she had never even touched. 10 years since her hearing was damaged from a blow she never saw coming. 10 years since she lost Julian Hale, the boy she once believed God personally designed for her heart. Her fingers trembled as she touched her left ear. Partially deaf, not silent, not broken, just altered. She could hear loud voices, clear tones, footsteps, arguments, secrets spoken too boldly, soft whispers, faint tones, murmured lies. Those slipped away like smoke. People spoke freely around her, believing she lived in silence. That blind assumption was her best weapon. Eva inhaled deeply and pushed the gate open. The mansion towered before her. Polished marble, white pillars, gold accents. A world far too beautiful to contain the ugliness it hid. A maid opened the door. "You're the new girl? The deaf one?" Eva nodded. The maid shrugged. "Good. Deaf maids don't gossip. Come in." Eva entered the mansion, and the scent hit her instantly. Expensive lilies and fresh polish. The same scent she remembered. On the night her world ended, her throat tightened, but she kept walking. She passed the family portraits. She promised herself not to look. She tried. She failed. That's when she saw it. Victoria Sterling. Perfect hair, perfect smile, perfect lie. Her manicured hand rested on Julian's chest in the portrait. Underneath was a gold plaque. Julian Hale and Victoria Sterling, engaged. Something sharp twisted inside Eva. Not jealousy, not longing, betrayal. Before she could catch her breath, a voice floated from the staircase. "Who's the new maid?" Her heart stilled. Julian. Older, sharper jaw, colder eyes. A man who wore wealth like armor. But beneath all of that, she recognized him. Her first love, her last heartbreak. The maid stepped forward. "She's deaf, sir. Agency sent her." Julian's gaze lingered on Eva. Slow, searching, almost gentle, like a quiet memory tried to push its way to the surface. Eva lowered her eyes. She wasn't ready. Not yet. A silk robe rustled behind him. "Oh, good. The maid is here." Victoria Sterling glided into the hall, diamonds screaming wealth, and eyes screaming venom. "She's deaf, right?" "Yes." "Perfect." Victoria smirked. "Then she won't hear anything she shouldn't." Eva heard every syllable. Her fingers coiled into her palms. Victoria moved closer, inspecting her the way someone inspected an object, not a human. "Deaf people are clumsy," she said loudly. "Keep her away from anything expensive." Eva swallowed hard, but not from humiliation, from fury. If only Victoria knew. Her downfall was standing 2 feet away. Days passed. Eva worked quietly, unnoticed, and listening carefully. That was when she heard it. Victoria's voice. Sharp, irritated, leaking through a half-open door. "What do you mean she's out already?" A pause. "No, listen. Julian thinks she ran off with that gardener boy and stole the jewelry." Yes, he believed it. "I made sure he did." Eva froze. Victoria continued. "He barely remembers her now. I erased her from his life." Exactly what I wanted. The world tilted. The room spun. Her heart shattered. Not from pain, but from clarity. Julian hadn't abandoned her. He had been manipulated, blindfolded by lies. All those years while locked up, she had waited for him to come, but he never did, and now she understood why. Her breath came out shallow. For the first time in 10 years, Eva's rage had a name. Victoria Sterling, and she knew exactly what she had to do. Weeks slipped by quietly inside Hale Mansion. Quietly, for everyone except Eva. She noticed more things. Small details. Painful realizations. Julian hardly came home. After the first day she entered the mansion, she hardly saw him. Not because of work, not because of meetings, but because he was avoiding Victoria. Outside the mansion, he looked like a man with his life perfectly aligned. Confident, calculated, unshakable. But inside these walls, inside the place that held his childhood memories and his mother's expectations, he was a broken boy who never healed. A man haunted by something he couldn't name. And when he eventually came home, Eva saw it the moment he walked in. The stiffness in his shoulders, the exhaustion behind his eyes, the heaviness in his chest. And though she pretended not to look, her heart still felt every bit of him. One afternoon, Julian's mother arrived unannounced. Tall, elegant, sharp. A woman who carried wealth the way other people carried oxygen. She remembered her from 10 years ago, proud and arrogant. She barely greeted the staff. Her heels clicked across the marble floor as she marched into Julian's study. Eva was dusting nearby when the argument began. "Julian, you must pick a wedding date." His tired voice followed. "Mother, I'm not ready. Do you want to embarrass our family?" Eva froze. "Julian, people are talking," she snapped. "Victoria is waiting. Her parents are waiting. This delay is embarrassing." Julian leaned back on his desk, exhausted. "Mother, I already said I wasn't ready." "Not ready? You've been saying that for months." Her voice rose sharply. Eva continued dusting the shelf quietly, pretending not to hear the commotion happening right outside. But her attention was sharp. When Mrs. Hale wasn't getting the answer she wanted, she grabbed her handbag and stormed out. "Do whatever you like, Julian," she hissed. "I am tired of begging you to do what is right for this family." The door slammed behind her. Julian sighed, rubbing his temples. Eva quietly slipped into the hallway, pretending to head toward the laundry. But her senses stayed alert, because Mrs. Hale was standing right there, face to face with Victoria. The moment Victoria saw her, she plastered on a fake smile. "Oh, Mrs. Hale, we need to talk." Mrs. Hale cut her off. "Now." Before Victoria could react, Mrs. Hale grabbed her by the wrist and dragged her toward Victoria's bedroom. Victoria stumbled, trying to keep up with Mrs. Hale's furious pace. Eva followed at a distance, pretending to arrange towels. She watched them disappear into the bedroom. The door didn't fully shut, and that tiny gap was all Eva needed. She moved closer, quietly, silently, and pressed her back against the wall beside the door. Her heart pounding. Inside, Mrs. Hale's voice was sharp and panicked. "Victoria, you must get pregnant quickly. He refuses to pick a wedding date, but a baby will force him to decide. That girl just got out, and if she finds Julian, if he discovers what we did 10 years ago, we are finished. He will never forgive us." Eva's breath stopped. Her hands turned cold. Mrs. Hale continued, voice trembling with fear and anger. "Remember, this was all your idea. So act fast, before everything we did to break them apart will be in vain." Eva's legs nearly gave out. Everything we did, not Victoria alone. Not a mistake. Not an accident. A conspiracy. A plan. A betrayal. Victoria laughed softly, calm, wicked, confident. "Oh, trust me, Mrs. Hale," she purred. "I'm handling it. That maid can never set foot in this house, or even dream of meeting up with Julian. I gave her a scare in prison." Eva's heart shattered. Her vision blurred. The accident that led to her damaged ear was no accident. It was all Victoria's doing. And his mother, his own mother, was part of the reason her life was destroyed. She pressed a hand to her mouth. holding back a silent sob. For the first time, she understood. She hadn't just been defeated by lies. She had been defeated by the two women Julian trusted most. The days that followed were a storm of emotions for Eva. She was still reeling from what she had overheard, and then she uncovered the rest of Victoria's secret. It was in the private corridor on a bright afternoon. Julian had not been home since his mother's last visit. Amidst whispers, giggles, and a careless phone call, she found out the truth. Victoria wasn't just cruel. She wasn't just manipulative. She had a lover, a secret man she visited whenever Julian wasn't home. And when Eva listened closely, she heard what she wasn't meant to hear. Victoria was planning on getting pregnant by her lover and pass the baby off as Julian's. To lock him into a marriage he didn't want. That was the moment something hardened inside Eva. She had been patient for far too long, quiet, hiding. But now, she had to act fast. The truth would not save itself. That evening, Julian returned home unexpectedly. Eva was tending the garden, pulling weeds from the roses while thinking of her next point of action. She stood on the same spot Amelia used to stand a decade ago. Julian stepped into the garden and stopped. His breath caught. His eyes softened. A memory slammed into him like a wave. Amelia, standing in that exact place, laughing in the sunlight, waiting for him. He whispered her name under his breath. Amelia? Eva's body tensed. Just slightly, just enough to feel it. He took a step toward her. I don't know why, he murmured, voice cracking, but you remind me of someone. Before she could react, before she could hide, Julian swayed. His vision blurred, his world tilted, and he collapsed, right into her arms. Eva caught him, shock flooding her. Julian's head rested against her shoulder. His breathing was uneven. He smelled of stress, pain, and everything she had once loved. For a brief moment, the universe gave her the closeness she had been avoiding. She held him until his breathing steadied. She took him inside, helped him to the sofa, and brought him water. Julian half opened his eyes. Why? He whispered. Why do I feel safe with you? Eva looked away quickly. Her heart was betraying her, but her mission came first. The next day, Eva kept her distance and followed Victoria quietly. Victoria had lied to Julian, claiming she was visiting her parents. But by afternoon, Eva watched her slip into a quiet corner of the city, where a black car waited. Eva recorded everything. Victoria running into the arms of her secret lover, their stolen kisses, their whispered plans, her soft laugh, the kind she never gave Julian. Every word dripping with betrayal. When Eva replayed the video, her hands trembled, not from fear, but from purpose. She sent the recording anonymously to Julian. No message, no explanation, just truth. And truth was enough. Julian watched it alone in his study. His jaw clenched, his chest tightened. He didn't blink once. Something inside him broke, not loudly, but deeply. That night, when Victoria returned home smiling, Julian was waiting for her in the hallway, holding the phone in his hand. She opened her mouth to greet him, but froze when she saw his face. Cold, done, unreachable. Julian, what are you, Doc? We're done. Just 2 words. But they shattered the ground beneath her feet. Victoria panicked instantly. She begged. She screamed. She cried until her voice cracked. She clung to his shirt. She fell to her knees. It's photoshopped. Julian, it's fake. Someone is trying to destroy me. But Julian didn't flinch. He didn't yell. He didn't argue. He didn't explain himself. He simply looked at her with the calm of a man who had already made peace with the ending. I wanted to end this for a long time, he said quietly. This just gave me the clarity I needed. Victoria's breath stuttered. Her face twisted in anger and desperation. But Julian turned away, grateful to whoever had freed him from the trap he didn't realize he was in. He walked off without looking back, leaving Victoria broken in the middle of the hallway. But Victoria wasn't done. Instead of accepting the breakup, she began investigating the staff. Someone in the house had to be watching her. Someone studying her movements. Because She had been careful, extremely careful, and yet someone still exposed her. She pretended she had come to Julian's house to pack her bags, but instead, she slipped straight into the security room. "I want to see yesterday's CCTV footage," she ordered, her voice hard and shaking. The guard hesitated. She glared. He obeyed. And there it was, clear as day. The new maid, the quiet girl Victoria, had dismissed and underestimated. Seen on the camera right after Victoria drove out, wearing a disguise, hailing a cab in a hurry, and pointing in the direction Victoria's car had gone. Victoria's eyes widened. Her mouth fell open. Her pulse spiked. The maid, the deaf maid. She had followed her. She had recorded her. She had ruined everything. Victoria snapped. A fury she had been holding for years burst through her like wildfire. She lost control. She stormed into the staff room and dragged Eva out by the arm. "You!" she hissed. "It was you! You ruined everything!" Eva lifted her head slowly and looked her straight in the eye. "Do you remember me, Victoria? We used to be friends, even though I was just a maid. But you never wanted to see me happy, and you never got over the fact that Julian chose me." Victoria froze, stunned, her face drained. She stumbled backwards in shock. "How dare you come back here?" she spat. The commotion echoed through the hallway, and Julian rushed in at the sound of the chaos. Victoria panicked immediately. "Julian, don't listen to anything she says. It's all lies. She's lying." Julian stopped in front of them, eyes cold and steady. "And what?" he asked quietly. "Is she lying about?" Before Victoria could open her mouth, Eva stepped forward. Her voice was steady, quiet, sharp enough to slice the air. "It's me, Amelia," she said. "That's why you were confused all this while. Your heart recognized me, but I guess your brain forgot." The room froze. Victoria's breath caught. Her face went pale. She stumbled backward, trembling. Fear and shock tangled across her expression. Julian's eyes widened. Slowly, hesitantly, he looked at Eva as if the world had stopped spinning. When she finally lifted her head and their eyes met, he saw her, the girl he lost, the love he buried, the ghost who had lived in his heart for 10 years, standing right in front of him. Julian's voice broke raw, shaking. "Amelia, what are you doing here? What happened to you?" He swallowed hard. "I was told you ran off with another man, that you stole jewelry. There was even a letter in your handwriting." Eva didn't speak yet, but her silence alone was enough to unravel everything. Victoria panicked. She could feel the truth slipping, feel her lies crumbling, feel Julian slipping away for good. She tried to speak, but her fear betrayed her. She's lying. "Julian, listen, this is all your mother's fault." I told her it was a bad idea. She said it would work. She said Amelia had to disappear. Julian's head snapped toward her. "What did you just say?" Victoria froze, realizing too late what she had confessed. And then, as if the universe wanted all sins exposed in the same breath, Julian's mother walked in, right into the middle of the storm. She stopped when she saw Amelia. Her eyes widened, her face drained. Julian turned to her slowly, heartbreak twisting inside his chest. "Mother, is any of this true?" His voice shook, not with anger, but with betrayal so deep it lived in the cracks of his soul. And that was the moment the truth began to bleed through the room. "How could you?" Julian whispered, his voice cracking under the weight of everything he had just learned. His heartbreak filled the room like a shadow. "I can understand Victoria acting out of jealousy," he said, staring at both women. "But you?" He turned to his mother, the same woman who raised him to be kind, honest, fair. "You, who used to be a maid yourself." His voice trembled. "You, who used to suffer." His eyes burned with disbelief. "You transformed into the very thing you hated." His mother flinched as though the words physically struck her. Julian stepped closer, his chest rising with pain that had lived inside him for a decade. "You ruined an innocent life," he whispered. "For what, Mother? For status? For control? For fear?" Mrs. Hale finally broke. Her face crumpled. tears spilling as she covered her mouth with shaking hands. "I only wanted the best for you," she sobbed. Julian shook his head, devastated. "No, you destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me," he said quietly. "And I can't forgive you." Silence. Heavy, crushing, irreversible. Julian straightened, wiping the tears from his eyes. When he spoke again, his voice carried the weight of finality. "I need the both of you to leave my house. This instant." His voice grew darker. "Go, before I forget. I once loved you. And do something I'll regret." Victoria's mouth twisted with anger. She showed no remorse, no shame. Mrs. Hale, shaken to her core, walked out slowly, realizing the depth of the damage she caused, whispering apologies that no longer mattered. As the door closed behind them, one truth settled over the mansion like a quiet storm. Even though it took years, even though it cost them all so much, the truth was finally out. Ava and Julian began a new beginning. It wasn't instant. It wasn't perfect. But slowly, carefully, with truth replacing lies, they built something new. Julian apologized every day. Eva healed little by little. They learned each other again, not as children caught in first love, but as adults who had survived heartbreak. And in time, they got married. It wasn't loud. It wasn't big. Just intimate, a small ceremony with a few trusted friends. His mother wasn't invited. Their life became simple, soft, beautiful. No secrets, no lies. Just love, rebuilt from ruins. And when their first child laughed for the very first time, Eva finally understood something. She had entered that mansion seeking justice. But what she found instead was truth, healing, and a love she thought she had lost forever. And sometimes, on quiet mornings, when the sunlight spilled gently across their living room and Julian held their baby close, Eva would stop and breathe in the moment. A decade ago, this house had broken her. Now, it was the place where she healed. A decade ago, she walked in as a maid with a wounded heart. Now, she walked through its halls as a wife, a mother, and a woman who reclaimed her life on her own terms. Justice had brought her back, but love allowed her to stay. And Eva knew with every laugh, every sunrise, every breath, that she had rewritten her own story. A story that didn't end in pain, but in peace. Moral of the story: no matter how long lies remain buried, the truth always rises. And when it does, it exposes deceit, heals the broken, and restores what was stolen. A strong heart can survive betrayal, rebuild from ruins, and choose love again. Because real love does not die, it waits for honesty, grows through pain, and returns even stronger when justice finally takes its place. If this story touched your heart, tell us where you're watching from. Your comments mean the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe for more beautiful stories. Thank you so much for staying with me today. Stay kind, stay safe, and remain blessed. See you in the next story. And from all of us here, season's greetings to you and your family.